Alright, just had Isaac bring the tiller down to the garden. And, hey Isaac, I'm going to need your help loading this peat moss. So we're going to bring the peat moss down here. Let me go ahead and show you the spot that we're planting. This is not where we had it last year. We decided we wanted it up closer to the house. So, there's some weeds that kind of popped up since we set this place aside. It was where we had our summer squash earlier this year, and then when the summer squash was over, we decided we're going to make this patch. It's basically here, here, and here, and the wood chips. It's hard to tell because everything looks camouflaged, but we got the wood chips scraped back already, and we've already put several bags of sand in this spot, and now we're going to add some peat moss. Yeah, in just a minute. All right. Yeah, just dump it right there. Wait, just dump that right there and go ahead and get the other one so we can get that out the way since we got to do it anyway. All right, y'all. When I bought these peat moss bags, I didn't realize they were extra large. And I bought 2 of them, but I always have use for peat moss. But this is an extra large size, and it is 77 pounds. So that's a lot of peat moss, y'all. Anyway, we always have plenty of uses for it. We are in Middle Tennessee, Zone 7, and the soil here is really good, but it does tend to have a lot of clay content in it. So peat moss is really great to mix with that type of soil to help break it up and make it hold moisture better. So if you do have an issue with your soil being kind of heavier with clay, sand and peat moss is always good to add. Okay, y'all, this is when it's really super helpful when you have lots of children, because that's how many extra hands that you have to help. So we have added peat moss, we've added sand, we've got bone meal, and we've also got some compost. Now we have gotten out as many weeds as we possibly can. Isaac tilled it up so it's nice and deep and thick, and we are going to lay this fencing down right here, and that kind of gives me a grid to follow. And if you've watched some of my previous videos, I talk about how having extra little pieces of fencing is so beneficial. We use it for so many different things, and this is one of those extra things that we use it for, and that is laying a grid down for your garlic. So Eva, if you'll, hey Nolan, move out of the way real quick. We're going to start on the side that Isaac is. So Nolan, you're going to have to move. So I want you to just lay that on the end. We're going to start in sections. Okay, lay it down. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to start on that end, and I think we're going to go with the hardneck garlic there, and probably do half in hardneck and the rest in softneck. Okay? Alright, so let me get them set up, and they'll get to digging, or get to burying. There are 2 varieties of garlic that we grow. Are this red Echilium. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Let me get it and feel down here. This is about the size that it is. It's not super huge. That's the kind that I've braided. This is a soft neck variety. And soft neck is just exactly what it talks about. It's soft neck. It's not going to be a super hard stalk like this one. Look how much bigger the stem is on this one. This, I believe this is some type of elephant garlic. I do not know what variety it is because we got it from a local guy here that has been growing it since the 80s. He did not know what variety it is, but it is a hardneck and it is super huge. This is actually a smaller one, but look at the size of this. Is just one clove, y'all. Just one clove. Look how big it is. So we were really pleased with this. It did super well. All of our garlic came up last year. So anyway, those are the two varieties. Hardneck variety here. I'm just going to say that it's some type of elephant garlic. And the red, sorry it's so blurry. The red Inchelium, Inchelium or something like that. Anyway, you can look at it online. We buy, the best time to order this kind of garlic if you order online is in June or July because it sells out really quickly. You order it early and then they will ship it to you around your, whatever your planting zone is. That's the time that they'll, maybe a month ahead of time, they'll ship it to you. We're in zone 7. And so typically you want to plant in November. And so they shipped it to us, I believe, at the end of September. Okay, so Eva, can you explain to us how you're supposed to bury it? Hold up a clove and tell us what side goes how.
The pointy side goes up.
Right, and show them the other end. What grows from that?
Roots.
That's right, roots. Very good. So you're going to get it down in there to where it's completely covered. You may have to dig a little bit deeper. The only downside about planting a big, gigantic, big chungus cloves like these is the fact that you have to dig pretty deep. Look what I found.
Give it to one of the chickens.
Oh yeah, they're gonna love this.
Yeah, I hate this.
Okay, so we have the hardneck variety already planted under the ground. There's about a 18-inch space here before we start the soft neck garlic. But just because I can't remember anything, I'm gonna go ahead and lay a stick here to let me know that I've got a section here and a section there. From this point, you can do one of two things. You can get just some leaves, break up some leaves, or some straw. Don't use hay because it might have seeds in it. So you just take your either leaves or straw, and you're just going to lightly cover your garlic patch in straw. You know, you don't have to go heavy. Okay, this is going to help with keeping the weeds down, and it's going to tuck your bulbs in for the winter. Now, I'm sure they would be just fine without, it's not like they're going to freeze, but this just gives you some extra insurance on keeping your bulbs covered and keep the weeds down. Because even though it's winter in our zone, you're still going to occasionally get weeds in the winter time. And they're super annoying. So get your straw down, say good night, I'll see you next spring, and you will have a beautiful bed of garlic which will be ready to be harvested either in June, beginning of June, or toward the end of June. So let me just recap a few things. Okay, so we're going to recap what to do. Number 1, you want to decide on what garlic variety you want. Number 2, check out your time zone and see when's the best time to plant garlic bulbs in your area. For our area, it is always around Thanksgiving. So the month of November is when it's best for us to plant garlic. If your soil is heavy with clay, you want to go ahead and add peat moss. It's always a good idea to add bone meal because bone meal is great for bulbs. And sand. If you have a lot of clay in your soil, add some sand. And even if you have really good soil, it's always a good idea to add peat moss anyway because it just It helps with the regulation of the moisture in your soil. After you do that, you want to space them out really well. Make sure you plant your your cloves with the pointy side up, and then cover it with either grass clippings. Well, you could use grass clippings, straw, or leaves, or just whatever you have. Some people might put pine needles, although I'm not sure what that would do to your soil pH, but you know, whatever you have available, use what works. And then you just forget about it. Water it in unless you're going to get rain. But from there, you really just don't have to worry about it. You may pull a few weeds in the spring, but otherwise you just wait until it's time to harvest, which is a whole nother video to know when they're ready to be harvested. But for planting, that's all. I'm going to leave it right there. Yes, you will see them start to grow sometimes in the wintertime, but don't worry about it. They'll be fine. You may see 4 or 5 inches of green stalk coming up, and it'll be January, but don't worry about it. It'll be fine. It'll all just continue to grow and kick and really just jumpstart as it warms up in the spring. So anyway, all right, you guys have a wonderful rest of the week, and get your garlic in if you can. And like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.